Don't take the stairs.
Yeah, don't take the stairs.
And
Don't.
that's when that doubt comes in. That doubt tells you it's too cold. It's too deep.
What's up, peoples? It's your bartenders, Mistah Z.
And your boy Omega.
Guess who's back? We're so happy to join you all again to sit and think about what it takes to be authentically yourself, understanding your shadow work, and how to identify and change the false narratives within us. As every episode, we want to thank all of you for listening. We truly appreciate you listening to our hearts and minds on varied and difficult topics.
Special thank you goes out to our Patreon subscribers for their support of the show. Every little bit helps us reach our goals to invite more high-profile guests and create bonus content.
And if you want to join in our conversation outside of this cast, feel free to hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at HaveADrinkCast, and make sure to use that hashtag #HADcast.
Remember, this is always a conversation. If you don't agree, you want to voice your opinions, or even suggest a topic for an episode, feel free to join our Discord as well. The link will be in the description.
And please, if you like what we're doing here, share us with your friends, your family, your neighbors. Hey, make a compilation of Omega and I saying the same words to each other over and over. I know, I've thought about it a few times. Your referrals mean a lot to us, as that's how we gain more listeners. So,
Thank you again.
and get prepared to sit
Think.
and have a drink.
Welcome to Have a Drink Podcast. Enjoy the episode.
We said peace. What's up, peoples, and welcome back to another episode of the Have a Drink Podcast, where we invite you to sit, think, and have a drink. We're your bartenders, Mistah Z.
And I'm your boy Omega.
Hey, and we're back.
What up? What up? What up?
2-week break. Whew.
Yeah, it was pretty necessary. Pretty necessary. And just to state the obvious and get this out of the way. Yes, I am actually in a hotel room. I am not recording at the house. I am actually in Connecticut right now. I'm on the East Coast. I've got to start a new job working for Bellator MMA. So I'm actually out here right now. It is pretty late, but I'm really excited. Yeah, but I love my podcast, so I had to do it.
They had to do it.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you caught that.
So today I wanted us to talk a little bit about a few different topics, a couple different topics, talking about being authentically yourself, or being your authentic self, as well as kind of, addressing some false narratives that we might hold for ourselves, the lies that we tell ourselves about different situations. And a lot of this comes up just because, like especially around the false narratives and on all that, there's all these things, these deep rooted lies that we hold on to within ourselves, that like it's sometimes we don't realize we're telling ourselves these lies, or that we continue to perpetuate them within ourselves, and so then we end up like holding ourselves back or holding ourselves down. And so I kind of wanted us to be able to like, address that and kind of talk through some of the ways maybe we have done that, just because like shadow work is a big thing. Shadow work is working on those things that are, your inner demons, so to speak, those hard parts that maybe you have a hard time dealing with or coming to terms with within yourself, or just healing within yourself, just whatever it is, whatever it may be. um as well as I mean, countless times there have been, conversations where, people will tell me, I mean, I feel like you and I have had this conversation, but people will say, like, I admire your ability to be authentically yourself, to just be who you are. um Whether that's, whether the conversation be about relationships, whether the conversation be about, business, because I've had tons of conversations about that, with people saying, like, oh my goodness, like how did you get into that line of work, entertainment? That's crazy. It's like, well, I wanted to do it, so I went for it. They're like, oh, that's insane. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, it's just a little bit of a direction change. I went to college for criminal justice, and see how good I'm putting that to use. But yeah, so I mean, and coupled with you know the false narratives, to kind of say, even though I'm being my authentic self, there's still a lot of things that I'm having a hard time, that I may have a hard time, getting through, because I don't realize that I'm telling this lie to myself or internally.
I do want to say, I'm going to give one. I'm going to give one because this is something that's going to make sense to both of us in both of our lives or whatever. And one of the beliefs or stereotypes that has been pushed out, or one of the narratives that has been pushed out, is happy wife, happy life. And the reason why I'm bringing that one up specifically is because listen to what the words verbally say. Happy wife, happy life. That means the husband, the man, or the other doesn't matter. As long as the wife is happy, then everything goes okay. And I get that, and I understood that. But then it was like, I was able to reflect and feel like I know what that looks like. If you keep the women happy or you keep the other happy at your own detriment, you are living in misery. Because everything you do is all about their happiness. It doesn't matter about you. Until as of recently, within the last 2 years, I heard the opposite. But it wasn't the opposite. It was just a mindset change and a verbiage change. Happy spouse, happy house. Now, when you say happy spouse, now you are using them as equals,
all inclusive,
and not putting one over the other.
Right.
And that really made a lot more sense to me, because it was like, for me, it was, well, I'm just trying to make you happy, so my feelings don't matter. I'm just trying to make you happy, so whatever I feel doesn't matter. Whatever I'm thinking doesn't matter. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. I don't matter. And I've said that many times. I don't matter. My feelings don't matter. So why? And my wife has been like, I hate it when you say that. What do you mean? Why do you always say your feelings don't matter? They do matter. I'm like, they don't. That's how I feel. I feel like as long as you're not mad and yelling or getting on me, that's all that matters. So how does that make my feelings matter? And so it's like, that's where the communication and the understanding, and then the verbiage change, and then the thought process changed for me. It was no longer happy wife, happy life, but more happy spouse, happy house. It's, if we are happy, the house will be happy. If we can take care of ourselves and each other, the house will be happy. And notice the words was take care of ourselves and each other.
Right, and not being something solely exclusive, or just like, okay, it's not like a selfish mindset. It's as we've kind of said, you gotta take care of me before we can take care of we. But you gotta make sure you're taking care of we.
Take care of the me so I can take care of the we.
Yep, taking care of me takes
and
care
it's not
of the
only
we.
focused on me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because that means
but
I
not
can come
only
back
focusing
strong.
on me.
Yeah, I can come back strong and redirect my focus onto you, or onto my significant other, or whatever it is.
Yeah, right.
So interesting.
Right. And that's just been something that's been different for me, because I personally tend to hold things in. I will disregard my own thoughts and feelings for the betterment of others, or I will push the others forward. Something I've realized is I want to save. I want to help. I want to protect. I want to save others. And that's in so many different areas. Yeah. It's like,
same.
I see
so much same.
Yeah. It's sad. It's like, I see a woman, I see her need and want, and all I want to do is correct it and save it and fix it. And it's not my place.
Correct.
And that's the problem.
And there's something amazing. I implore people to go check it out, before I spoil this video, but it's called "It's Not About the Nail" by Jason Headley on YouTube. You can check out the video. It is really well made, very like it drives this point home. Okay. Yeah, the video is about like a minute, 2 minutes long, so you'll be fine. But the video basically, it's like this couple is sitting having a conversation, and the girlfriend is kind of expressing, this pain that she's been feeling, the things that's kind of been going on, and the hardship of this thing that is happening. And so she's kind of talking about this with her boyfriend, and it's all these things are like, like like my sweaters are always getting snagged, like I just like I there's this like pain, like it's just like it's like feels like it's focused right in the center of my head, and like it just won't stop, and all I want it to do is stop, but it just won't, and like I don't know what to do about it, and it's so hard, and it hurts inside. And it kind of like pans around, and it shows that she has a nail sticking in her forehead, sticking out of her forehead. And the boyfriend's kind of looking, and he's like, well, why don't you just take the nail out of your head? And she's just like, hey, it's not about the nail. I just stop mentioning the nail. It's I'm just I just want you to listen to me. I just want to be heard. And like the whole time, like he's sitting there, and she's spewing off all these problems that are being caused by this nail sticking out. Right? He's like, well, you could just take it out of your like it's not that hard. It's right there. And and so it's to kind of show that the whole time, yeah, there may be something like there may be a thing that needs to be fixed and can be fixed if the person just does this thing. But sometimes when they're especially when they're in that space, it's not about the nail. It's about how they feel. It's about their feelings being valid, like how you were saying, my feelings matter. You had this narrative that you're feeling. So I was going to ask you, I was like, so what do you feel like the deeper lie, core lie that it is you're telling yourself throughout these situations, and in it being, like that your feelings don't matter? Well, in combating that and understanding that your feelings matter, you want to be heard, you want to be understood, you want to you want to feel like your feelings are valid. So in that situation, somebody, you know somebody being empathetic sometimes makes it easier to handle what it is you're going through, and then eventually the person will lead themselves there and be like, I should probably take this nail out of my head. They're like, oh, there's a nail sticking out, I should take this out, it needs to be dealt with. And then they do it because you know a lot of times people certain you can only lead a horse to water, you can't force him to drink. It's pretty much it. You can just kind of you can lead people to it, but you can't force them to do the thing that's necessary in order for them to change, or in order for them to grow, I guess would be a better way to say it.
And if you did force that horse to drink, would you really be quenching their thirst, or would you be drowning them?
Ooh. Like I'm kind of curious. So I, I guess in the season of like actually like showing what this is like, you have these false narratives about yourself. Have you, for my first question being like, have you found and addressed any?
Outside of
Because
the,
yeah,
besides my feelings don't matter.
right,
Um, well, for me, one was that I'm not good in school, and that I'm not book smart.
right. Have there been any that you've confronted that are there any that you're still holding on to that you haven't let go?
Oh, um, I have a hard time with moving on with feelings from the past. without full closure. You know, like some people can just take something as a closure and move on. I have a hard time with that because I care so deep about people and others, where it's like if I let you into a certain level, it's hard for me to just let go and let it be just what it is. Like I can't just cut people off like they don't matter, because it's very difficult for me personally, because I have such a it's weird to say this out loud because my mom used to say this about me when I was younger. I have a soft heart. I have a very soft heart. Like if like me as a kid, like when I was younger, if you raised your voice at me, I would cry. You know. But now I'm like whatever. But I have a soft heart when emotionally, when it comes to emotions, or somebody has touched me on a deeper level in another way, it's hard for me to just shut them off, cut them off, or push them out. Okay, great example. I actually opened up to my wife recently about this because I never ever talked to her about this. I actually really tried to avoid it. She knows about this young lady, my ex-girlfriend that I was with for a little bit. To open up to my wife about this young lady and how she hurt me and even ruined a friendship that I had with a really good friend of mine. And when I say ruined a friendship, I mean we recently started talking like maybe a year ago. You know, so it was really hard to deal with. Um, so for me, that's something that I haven't let go.
Sorry, I just to clarify, when you say the narrative that is hard to let go is the narrative of holding on, that you have to hold on to these things of the past.
Hmm.
Okay, sorry.
Unless I have full legit closure, like straight up closure.
Got it. Mm.
Like I've had a few exes before, right? But we broke up, and I know that there's a closure. There was a stop. There was a, this is why this is over, done. Whereas there's a certain one or two that was like, it just fizzled away, and I don't know why. So it's like that feeling is still there. Although it may not be as strong, it's still there.
So what makes you feel like you have to hold on to those things? What makes you need that full legit closure? Was there something,
I don't know.
I mean, was there something in your history that like, or in your experience, or growing up with someone where you felt like it just was left open ended, like you just didn't get to like have some closure around it, maybe friendship or, you know, family member passing?
It's crazy because that's what I was thinking about, but I'm like, does that really make sense? But I guess the loss of my dad and the loss of my grandfather. The loss of my grandfather was so unexpected for me personally. Even though I knew he was older, the loss of my grandfather was so unexpected for me. It obliterated me because I was very close to him. You know, so it's like I seem to love or held on a little bit tighter of all these things. And then the second time I get like with my father, him knowing his time was coming, me being conscious that his time is coming, but me listening and believing others that are saying God's not through with him yet. His time is not up. He's not going nowhere. So I chose to believe that and not take the opportunity that I needed to ask those hard questions or have those conversations, and not have my dad really be like, this is it. So speak now or forever hold your peace type deal. And then to see him suffering on his way out and not be able to say anything was difficult. So it's like I'm still holding on to that. It's like I feel like he suffered, so I suffered. Because I feel like there were still things he still had to say or still wanted to say but couldn't say. Well, I feel like I'm that same way, where there's still things that I have to say and want to say, but I haven't said, so I can't rest yet. Like I want to know, like I would like, and I actually kind of told my wife this, and I even kind of brought up to my daughter a little bit, was like, if the first time I seen her since everything went down, uh, I turned around and walked the hell out of the room. I just seen her on a date, turned around and walked right out of the restaurant and left. My heart was racing. I was like, I could. That's the first time I'd seen her since before we were got married. I had no idea like she was even around. Like it like really messed me up, you know. So something so big happened in my life, and I felt like it was taken. And so it's like I haven't seen her and talked to her since. That was
Yeah.
hard, like so these big things always seem to end in death and they're just gone.
Hmm. I understand that, to feel like you won't have you don't have control over a situation. Say, like I went through something where like my partner at the time, we'd gone through a lot of things, and there was just a lot of breaking of boundaries and breaking of promises and whatnot, and the confines of our relationship, all of that. And there were things that were left unanswered, that were just kind of like up in the air, and there was no chance of ever getting those answers or getting that closure for that. And so it left that like that hole inside to want to like that soured things between us, it just was hard. um but back to you about like having your grandfather pass away, having your father pass away. I can see why that would push you forth to desire closure in situations, or full closure. What do you think the narrative is about you within that? Like what do you think you're telling yourself? Like what do you feel like the lie is in there that you're telling yourself? That you have a responsibility to close these things? Like do you feel like you, like, without a doubt, you need to make sure that these things are closed, it's your responsibility if other people won't do it? Do you like
I'm a completer.
mm.
you
I
know
don't shit, I don't see the bad in that.
yeah, it could be, but I mean, but that's just what it is. It's like I need to feel like something is complete, like my mission is complete,
So
like
you will do what is necessary.
to make sure that mission is complete. So even if it's at the detriment of myself, I will still do what I can to make sure the mission is complete. And it's weird, but that's just what it is. It's like if I said something, I got to make sure I see it through.
Yeah, is that why you've put yourself in situations where you've stayed long after you should have left? Okay. Mm. Mm.
I am a completer. But also on the flip side of that too is that sometimes I get too involved with things that I shouldn't have to, that I consciously know I shouldn't, but I still do because I let my curiosity take over me.
Okay.
I let my mind wander so much, it goes from curiosity to a want, almost borderline a need. Like I need to figure this out. I need to find out what this is like. I need to feel this. I need to see this. I need to taste this. I need to
An
do this.
encompassing obsession for completion.
Mhm.
Mm. I think I think it'd be good to kind of like talk through like how we can do shadow work, or take care of these false narratives that we might have, that we're kind of like going through. And it's so I feel like the first steps you want to take. So you would notice when you would judge, criticize, or blame and pause, like what in yourself are you avoiding by focusing externally? So like that narrative, that false, like just being able to find what it is, whatever that false narrative is, like you just like taking those moments when you are feeling critical or harsh, or you're going outward with whatever is happening. Great time, or a great thing to do in that time is to go inward in order to figure out why you're projecting this outward. And the next thing to do is, like, when you're feeling jealousy, anger, or self-pity, like pause and ask, what core belief is underneath this feeling. So like now that you've kind of like noticed you're doing this, you're like, okay, going internally and figuring out what it is, by asking yourself this, like, what is the core belief underneath this this feeling that I'm having right now? Why am I so angry at myself? Why am I so angry at this person? Am I actually angry at this person, or am I sad or angry or upset at myself for not doing this action? And me just being upset or naturally here is just causing me to lash out onto somebody else. Next is, kind of like practice seeing yourself in other people. A lot of shadow work, like I said, is very inward, but like when you what we said at the top of this is like, when you're working on me, you can work on we. Like you'll have enough strength to bring back to work on we. It makes everyone else better. And if you're seeing yourself in others, I mean, yeah, call it selfish, call it whatever it is, but like it's true. Like, you're me, I'm you. We may not have the exact same experience, but we are, you know of the same things. you know we both bleed when we're cut. We both die when we're old, or sick, or injured. you know um Next thing to do would be to practice radical responsibility for your emotions and reactions rather than blaming others. So, like, really, like I said, like owning up to those things that you're like, okay, I'm projecting onto you, and like really being able to even address it verbally and just be like, I'm projecting. This is my feeling that I'm kind of going through, and it's not you, it's me. I'm not trying to like say you're to blame, or say you're at fault, or to even say that you're completely innocent, but like, a lot of this is not just you, it's me.
That's a hard one because you
Yeah.
have to be very conscious of yourself in that moment and be able to stop yourself. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just had to say that. Like, that's a
No, of
very,
course.
very difficult thing to do because not a lot of people have that ability.
100%. um and then finally, just being honest about your shadow thoughts and fears, and then remind yourself what is true. Like, are these lies that I'm telling myself actually true? Are these things that I'm using to hold myself down, hold myself back? I didn't get to jump into it very much about like my experiences, or what my lies are. I did come to uh uh f- the other day I came to a lie that I was telling myself. I feel like, was it the lie that I'm not enough? I feel like it was the lie that I'm not enough. I come to that realization, and I come to that after, like, oh no, it was the lie that I don't complete anything. That I'm not good enough. That I am not good enough. That the reason why I don't complete this is that because I'm not good enough. Even if I put that out there, nobody's gonna see it, nobody's gonna care about it. The self-doubt, the down talk, the negative thoughts. And so, like, I had to do a lot of that, going inside of myself, of like, if I'm feeling this, like why am I telling myself this? Like, why am I feeling like I'm going to fail, or I feel like a failure, I feel like, whatever it is, and like why I don't complete, and and getting to that root of like, what's the point of me putting stuff out if I don't feel like it's going to be good enough? If I don't feel like I'm good enough? And whew, you're on mute. But yeah.
I know I am. I just didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, you good.
It was you were saying some stuff, man. Because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Or compare. For me, it's like comparing myself to those that are around me. So then I never let myself elevate because I always put everybody else on that pedestal above me, even though others that have surrounded me have seen me as their equal. I still always found myself as a lesser than.
Ooh. I feel like we should talk about the level up cycle in future episode, because I feel like that is a really important thing to address, because you just kind of like scratch the surface on it about like what it's like leveling up in your skills and your journey and etc, and then being at the next level but at the base, at like at the first step of that next level, and you just being feeling like you're all over again. You're like, why, where did everything that I just worked so hard to do and learn,
Yeah.
where did that all go? Why am I at like step one again, feeling like a noob? You know?
No, that's so true. Like even
Mm.
coaching wise, I finally came to a realization as to why a part of my dream didn't come to fruition, and it started with me. I got in my own way. I stopped myself from leveling up. I stopped myself. Like for me, a dream of mine is to be coaching cage side, coaching a fighter cage side. Somebody that I've trained and worked with, and I've had that opportunity. I paid my money, I did my thing, put my time in, I put my work in, went to a training camp, the whole nine. I'm backstage, I'm holding mitts, I'm doing the warm-ups, I'm there with them, and then it's time to walk out. It's time to go cage, time to go to the cage, it's time for the big dance, it's time for the fight. And where am I? I'm in the back. And it's because I lack the confidence in myself to be like, I'm good. I deserve to be here. I can do this. It was, oh, well, I'm okay. I'm all right. That's me being humble. But also, there's a point when you have to have confidence. It's when your humbleness can be clouded, can cloud your confidence. And that's what happened. And I mean, I read Tyrese's book on how to get out of your own way, and that was what I was doing. I was getting in my own way until as of recently, that's when I finally learned. My humbleness clouded my confidence, which took away my opportunity to do what I said I could do.
Well, that humbleness left room for doubt to seep in, you know?
It sure did.
Like
Sure did.
yeah, like and man, like the God, the universe, your angels, guides, whatever you want to call it, whomever is trying to give you your intuition, whomever is trying to give you that message, that push, that confidence, some like funny thing can only be heard in silence. And
Mm.
and it's hard to find that silence too sometimes, because when you get to silence, that's when the voice of doubt seeps in, and it is a whole hell of a lot louder than that message that is trying to be, that message of confidence, that message of
100%.
move forward is trying to give to you. And it's like, those rude people that like burst into a conversation that you may be in the middle of, and they just like, hey, hold on, I just wanted to say to you guys, I like love what you're doing, or blah blah blah, or whatever it is, like, and you're just like, oh, okay. Like, I just wanted to, invite you to my party next week, or, I'm just throwing this rage, or whatever, like whatever the thing is. But yeah, it's just kind of like, it like busts in of like, yeah, you're not really shit, like your skills are nothing, kind of whatever. Yeah, you shouldn't even try. You should just kind of put it down. Like, what is it worth anyway? And like all the while behind it, that message is trying to be like, you can do this. You've worked so hard to get here. We you know all the right things you need to do. Just trust, jump in that leap. Can you hear me? I'm telling you to leap. I'm telling you to leap.
Don't take the stairs.
Yeah, don't take the stairs. Jump.
And that's when that doubt comes in. That doubt tells you it's too cold. It's too deep. It's been a long time. Are you sure? Did you eat too much before you swam?
Uh-huh.
Did you go to the bathroom? Did you put this? And all these questions are coming in. And it all started with just take the stairs.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It all started with just take the stairs.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different ways, there's so many different examples I have for when I let that doubt seep in and creep in.
Oh yeah,
So many
100%.
examples, so many examples from dancing with my crews that I've been with. I never put myself on that pedestal. I never put myself up there and found myself as an equal. To dancing with the Niners, I never found myself to be that equal. I always felt like they were so much better than me. I always thought about the better. Like even though people talk about my skill level, I still always found the way to be like, I'm still really not that good. These guys are better. You know, in so many different ways. Yeah, you know, everywhere, everywhere. Even with mid holding, like I'm around world class holders right now. I'm around world class, legit world class who got champions under their belt, coaches here. And I'm like, oh, well, I can hold mids. My friends like pumping me up, showing videos of what I do with him. And people are like, oh, man, that's really good. And I'm sitting here like, well, that's not that good. These guys are like high level. These guys are,
You're
it's like, I
feeling
got to
into that
stop them.
imposter syndrome.
Yes. And that's just what it is, you know? So it's like, we have to get out of our own way in that respect. You know, I've even caught you doing that before when you
Being in
come
my own
around
way?
me.
Oh yeah. Oh
And I'm
yeah.
like, I don't know why you put me there. You know, I'm like, you're you. You bring so much more to the table, more than you could ever imagine. And I'm like, don't put me up there. We're here
You
together.
move in such a way where it I may have flown, but it looks like flying to me. It looks
Like,
like flying. What you do, the way you move. So it looks like flying to me. And so I'm like, fuck, I want to fly too. Lo and behold, I'm also in the air watching you like
you're up
flying.
here
I'm
with me,
like,
bro.
damn, bro, you like it looks like you're flying right now. But like being able to, you don't get to notice the experience for yourself because you're not looking at yourself, you're looking at other people. I'm
It's
not looking
crazy.
at
You're
myself.
watching my plane while you're in flight next to me.
Yep. Yep.
I'm like, you're on the same flight pattern. I don't know why you're admiring my flight, because
Right.
you're not on the ground. You're next to me. And that's the thing. And that's what makes us work. That's what makes this work, is we have grown so much to where it's no more of one's better than the other. It's we both have our own lane and we use them to complement each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I think before we go, I think it'd be good to touch on a little bit of like just kind of goes with the theme of this of like when you're addressing those things, what you said before is hard to take responsibility for those moments when it is your shadow at work. you know um it there's this level of authenticity that comes with it because it takes being honest with yourself before you can become honest and authentic with others, because there's a lot of stuff you're going to have to understand about yourself. Like i- if you're constantly trying to put up a mask, if you're constantly masking, you're trying to put on a face or save face for whatever group or person or whatever it is, code switching, you're around, you at some point that shit's gonna give away. If you're in, they say, in a relationship, when people first get together or first meet, they're usually their best self, their best version of their self, not the self that they are every single day of their life, the best version of themselves. Because in those
Yes,
relationships, we want these people to like us, we want these people to mate with us, we want these people to be our life partners, we want these people to like whatever it is.
100%.
And so like we're putting on those faces, but then why in 2 3 4 months time is this relationship starting to fall apart? Oh, that's because they that entire time holding up a facade, and now what you're seeing is actually them. What you're feeling is actually them. I was thinking the same thing when it comes along to marriage too. When people are dating and then they're like, oh my god, in marriage all of a sudden they switched up. It was like because they were giving you their best self, not for them, but for you. Like
They
they
were
were
showing
just
you what they wanted you to see and what you
exactly.
deserved and needed to see.
Exactly. Not them being
Yeah.
authentically themselves, and that's a hard thing. Like, okay, let's just address how hard and how terrifying that is for people. Because I mean, even myself, I like I said, at the beginning of this, even though I try to be my authentic self, like I still am imperfect. I still have these lies that I tell myself that that at some point I need to address and move forth with, and learn how to clear out and be like, I these no longer serve me, thank you, and go on to the side please, and then kind of go from there. But like, even that journey of getting to that point for myself was terrifying, because there was a lot that I had to come to terms with, of the false narratives that encompassed certain actions, certain emotions, certain behaviors, certain thoughts. Like I would overanalyze, like, to a point where I realized I've been masking with myself. There's this way I
Mm,
want to be. There's this way I want to be. There's this way I see myself. There's this way that I want, that there's this end goal that I'm going to try and drive towards. But all along the
right, right,
way,
right.
I'm driving towards it like, no, 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 get away from me. No, 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 get away from me. When in actuality, these are parts of the vehicle. The door is trying to fly onto the vehicle. I'm like, no, get away, get away. The fucking wheels, the hubcaps, they're trying to get onto the vehicle. The nuts, the bolts, the exhaust, all these things trying to get onto the car, onto the vehicle, in order to, really give you the top-notch ride that you're supposed to have, you know? Where people look at you and they're like, wow, I would love to drive that, where it's not yourself, like, where they're looking like, oh, I want to be that person, but I want to do that. I want to drive like that. I want to have a car like that. I want to be able to get to my destination as smooth as that person did, you know? Because they see the time spent being authentic. Like, hell, like I told people in relationships, it was the hardest thing for me to tell people this, because I had such a negative view about anger. I had an issue with anger, like, it being in my family so prevalent. I didn't want anything to do with it. I didn't want to feel angry. And if I felt angry, I feel like I failed myself in my mission and the goal that I've been trying to do, because I'm trying to uphold myself to the spot. And so I deny that that side of me is even exists. And therefore it gets pushed away until it rears its ugly head again. And this whole time I'm thinking I'm a monster. I'm a horrible person. When in actuality, I'm not. It's just those moments like I'm holding back because of some lie. Maybe I couldn't express my feelings. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe my lie was that I didn't that my feelings don't matter. So I need to keep quiet so that I don't disrupt this other person's feelings. So that I don't hurt these other people. So that I don't share who I actually am. And in turn, that like held me so far back and so far down that like I couldn't like be me with other people. And only when I found that was I like, shit, okay, okay, I don't, first of all, I don't know why I've been stressing so long, but also there's this new stress of now I have to do this with other people. Now that I'm starting to be authentic with myself, of like, okay, I'm not angry. I'm I'm I may be an asshole, in certain situations that call for it. you know, it's just the things that I'm like, well, nah. And I'm like, whatever. Like it's not me trying to intentionally cause harm. It's understanding that you're not going to be able to please everybody. And in that moment, if it's not going to please someone else, I might as well try to do something for myself. And it comes off looking like an asshole of like, you know what? You're right. We shouldn't continue this conversation. Goodbye. And like, because it's just like, this is not conducive for you or for me. That, like whatever, like this is just going to get us in a circle. So all along that journey, now having to say that with other people, um, having to do that work and be honest and authentic with other people, even that being a scary, terrifying journey because now you have to let other people into a world and you have to understand that you have no control over their reaction to you, which is freeing and terrifying because then it just is up to chance by like if they're going to love you or hate you. That's what I tell people. I'm like, yeah, you either love me or you hate me. Like those are the kind of two because I'm going to do my best to be unapologetically myself, but then at the same time own up to the responsibilities of the shadows at work. Um,
We should talk about being unapologetically black and what does that mean?
Absolutely, I
Because
agree.
I've found that I'm not going to say we, I'm going to say me. I don't know how to.
I think
And I
honestly,
feel like I do, but I don't.
that's a thing that most people don't know how to do is be unapologetically themselves. I feel like that's essentially what it is. Being unapologetically black, but it's just there's no one way of being black. There's your way of being black. You
And being
know,
unapologetically yourself, like you
and
just
yeah,
said. That's
being
beautiful.
unapologetic about it.
Yeah.
And that's like a whole war with it.
Unapologetically me.
Yes.
Being unapologetically me. Okay, here's my question to the class, to my audience. What does it mean to be authentically you? What does an authentic you look like?
I love that
And
question,
if you
brother.
have kids, are you modeling how to be your authentic self, or are you stifling them to fit the societal narrative?
Bro, that's a
Because
whole
that's what you were
episode on
taught
its
to
own.
do. Yeah. And I say that because the age old thing, do as I say, not as I do. But actions speak louder than words. And on that note, I'd like to thank the Patreon. Thank you, everybody that has been so supportive of the podcast. We truly appreciate you guys. And to be honest, we have not been in Discord at all. We have not been in our Discord, conversing on Discord. Our Discord has gotten really quiet, and it would be nice to reinvigorate that. Matter of fact, I might even just send a post from it tonight before I go to bed. But yeah, thank you again to everybody that's following us, to all of our global fans out there. We appreciate your understanding, your patronage, and your patience with us as we kind of are going through life right now. And yes, I'm saying going through life because we all have our ups and downs. So this 2 week hiatus is definitely necessary because life has hit us both in its own way. But just know we haven't forgot about you. We think about you guys constantly, and we want to continue to be here, but we can't be here for you if we can't be here for ourselves. So thank you so much for your time, your patience, and your love and your support. Please, let's keep this ball rolling. And I just want to let you guys know it's almost our anniversary. Our anniversary is coming up very, very soon, like 2 weeks. So I want you guys to really show out and help us, man. And then when I say help us, I mean help us. We want to reach. We want to reach the world. Right now, our social media is we have 128 followers. That's our goal. Is to hit 200 followers on Instagram by our anniversary.
Absolutely. And I mean, like you said, oh, on our social media, we got 100 some odd followers, and like, if you want to check us out on there on Instagram or Twitter, you could check us out at Have a Drinkcast, and make sure you use the hashtag Hadcast on anything you post. And especially if you have any like shadow work that you're going through, or even like just something that you're feeling, post a video about it, tag us, post a post about it, tag us, send us a DM, tag us, so that we can be sure to doubly see it. in the DMs. But and what kind of podcast will we be? What kind of self-promoting podcast will we be if we didn't follow our own words of advice and take care of ourselves and our mental health? Even though this is a place for us to get some therapy, with each other, it's also important for us to be able to, um, go with the flow at times and what's needed and redirect focus where it's needed. So again, just to reiterate, we appreciate your patience and your grace as we, as we've done just that. Um, yeah.
I just want to give a shout out. I don't usually do this, but I want to give a shout out to all the May birthdays out there. It is May. I want to shout out to all the May birthdays out there. And man, happy Mother's Day, because this weekend is going to be Mother's Day. So by the time we record our next episode, Mother's Day would have passed. So I just want to say happy Mother's Day to all of those that are mothers, whether it is biological step or just by surrounding and influence. Happy Mother's Day to you.
Happy
And
Mother's
we are
Day.
definitely going to keep that energy when it comes to Father's Day. I got to say it.
Absolutely, and like say, be sure to check us out and join us on our anniversary episode in a couple of weeks. We got a few surprises happening for that. We'll give an announcement as we get closer, that way we can kind of give a preparation for what the event and festivities might be.
Shout out to Roper and Rebels and Maniacs. Just want to let y'all know, if y'all were trying to figure out what's this fly gear that I'm wearing, it is this Rebels and Maniacs by my boy Roper. He was an actual guest on the podcast. Go out there, go check it out. Check out his website, check out his gear. It's fresh, it is awesome, and he's going to do another drop really soon. So again, check out Rebels and Maniacs, okay? Because Rebels stand out and Maniacs make shit happen.
Hey, all right. Well, all right. It's about that time. All right. I implore y'all to raise your glasses. All right, kings, queens, and royals in between. I want to thank y'all for joining us again on another successful episode of the Have a Drink podcast. And we invite y'all back to sit, think, and have a drink. That's been us. Peace.
Peace.